Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Living with a Disability class. This will be Chapter 2, Section 2 on problem solving. In the last session, we learned about doing pro and con lists to try to figure out how to use your pros to overcome your cons. So, learn how that there's a solution for almost every problem out there. And that's what we're kind of going to look at again today. And we're also going to be looking at a few other things. Today we're going to be talking about problem solving continued. Uh, Here we go. And welcome and thanks. And if you haven't seen prior videos, please slip back and catch those. Please subscribe and like this channel. There's a little bell over there. If you click that little bell, you'll get notifications of when these videos come up. I'm going to try to get a little more consistent about doing them. I've been so busy setting up web pages and working on the other channels and stuff also. Uh, and plus bouncing back and forth to the doctor and all that good stuff. Okay, well, I'll get rid of these glasses because I don't think I'm going to need them for a moment. Uh, First thing I want to talk about is that every problem out there has a solution, and many times more than one solution. So that's what I was talking about last session. When you're bouncing up against the wall, take a step back and look around. There may be an open door next to you. That seems to be a major problem with a lot of us. We get a lot of us, as in humans, we get a set of blinders on ourselves, and we think that we only have one way out. And that's kind of what I've uh, seen a lot of times because I've worked a lot when I was in police work. I worked a lot around suicidal people, and that's exactly what happens with them. Is they get to the point that they don't see any other answers. So and then it's easier to mark yourself off after that. That's a shame. I mean, it's a horrible thing. So just keep looking around till you find a solution. They're there. There's usually, like I said, more than one. And we found out last session that communication helps real big, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that in this session. Okay, I want you to learn you got to hang in there. Keep looking for those solutions, and by practicing, by pulling off those blinders and looking around and checking out every option you have, that's where we live in a day and age of computers, in a day and age of technology. There's all kinds of answers out there. When somebody says Google it, they kind of aren't kidding, because most things that you need to find, you can find with Google or other search engines out there. So, you know, you can look things up and find different ways of getting around problems. That helps. Uh, by doing that, you're communicating with technology, and you're bringing that information to yourself. I mean, some of us don't have accessibility to computers. Some of us don't have accessibility to smartphones or things like that that we can use. Or also, some of us may not have the physical ability to operate a computer. Uh, one of my old clients, or not clients, customers, when I worked at Walmart, uh, they come in over on the overnights a lot because he was quadriplegic in a wheelchair, and they would come in to do their grocery shopping at night when there wasn't a ton of people around, and they were looking for something for him to communicate with a little better. To He loves to read, and I told him about the Kindle app that you can put on your computer or your tablets and things like that, and you can operate that thing with just a very slight touch. So if he can move at all, there's a little slight touch that he can do it, or he can do it with his nose, or whatever he takes. A stylus in his mouth, he can turn a page by touching the screen. Just different things. That's what I'm talking about. Is looking outside the box, working with what could truly help you and not be hindered and not being hindered. I shut the other camera off by accident. I had to turn it back on. Not be hindered by just everyday things. You need to look around, and what happens is sooner or later you're going to build up by practicing looking outside of the box. You're going to gain experience, and you're going to be more worldly. You're going to know a little bit more about how to go around to get what you need done. That's what I've had to learn to do over the years, and it's not a bad thing. All right, let's see what else is on my list. Look at problems as something worth solving. Don't get to the point where you have an issue and you just give up on it. If it's something that really means something to you, you need to stick with it, and you need to figure out how to fix it. It's just like a health problem. Uh, if you've got an infection and you neglect that infection, sooner or later it's going to take you out. So you have to make sure that you get to the doctor, you get an antibiotic, and get that on board, and that will help. And that's exactly what you're going to have to do in this situation, is to look at different ways and different methods to help yourself. And look at those problems like they're something worth solving. And you can solve most problems out there. Uh, I know it's difficult for some of us to get out and get about. I mean, in my wheelchair, I'm very limited by some environmental things, and I know it's tough. But you know what? When you really try hard, and you just refuse to give up, that's the main thing. You just have to refuse to give up. All right, and then keep persistent in your trying. I'm gonna get a drink because my mouth's getting real dry. Medication I take dries my mouth out so bad. I apologize. Be persistent and keep trying. Keep looking outside the box. I mean, we're persistent enough we'll like to bounce our heads against the wall, but we need to be more persistent and when we're pulling back and looking for solutions. So instead of beating your head against the wall, start peeling off the horse blinders that keeps you looking at the same old wall, and look and see if there's an open door right next to you. If you come up against the wall, there's ways you can go over it, you can go under it, or you can go around it, or through it. And some things we can actually bulldoze our way through, or BS our way through, or whatever. But you have to peel back, look at the problem from a distance. Sometimes that really helps. Sometimes it helps to get away from it for a little bit, and then come back to it. But just keep going, keep trying, be patient. Be patient, like I said earlier. The practice and experience is what's going to help you solve most of the problems on your own. We all need to remember these things. The way to solve problems is usually based on your past experiences. So if you've learned how to talk to people, you've learned how to communicate with your caregivers, or with your nurses, or doctors, or any other family members, anybody else in your in your bubble of people, that's going to be a major thing. You need to try to communicate. Try to do, like we talked last week, having good, solid communication. And that's also by meaning that you are not so stuck on your idea that you don't step back and listen and figure out what's going on there. We talked about that with going to the movies last time, and the caregiver said, I can't do it. I got things to do that night. Well, of course, we're headstrong and we want to go to the movies. But there's always that reason. I mean, it might be a personal reason for the caregiver. Maybe somebody in their family died, or well, I just got gruesome there, or maybe something is persistent going on and they just can't do it right now. So, but so think about what's going on around you, but still be persistent in your need to do things and be outspoken about your stuff. I'm not saying throw a fit, because throwing a fit, well, basically, anytime somebody throws a fit around me, and I used to be a caregiver, anytime that people throw a fit around me, I understood their communication so much less. I'm not going to say I shut down. Some people do totally shut down as soon as somebody gets combative or are verbally abusive or they perceive you to be that way. Sometimes it's nothing like that. You're just perceived to be that way. So sometimes you just got to take a step back and listen and and understand that everybody else has lives too. I mean, that's a tough thing when you're in a condition that you when you're in a compromised position like we are sometimes. Okay, how we think about ourselves, it will often affect how we approach problems. That's a very good point. Well, I even underline that one, I think. Yeah, how we think about ourselves. If you think that you don't deserve something in life, then you won't ask for it. Uh, or if you think that you don't deserve life at all, you don't ask for life to happen around you. Uh, there are many, many things you can do to get help, and you just need to just keep stabbing at it. Wow, we're at 11 minutes already.